Urban Yeti on Gameboy Advance. Before starting, let's talk about the Sasquatch in the room. This box art is atrocious. I'm not one to get politically correct on this channel, but I'm gonna say it, this is not a Yeti. At best, it's a Bigfoot, at worst, it's a Wolfman. It even has a full moon on the cover. If there are any Yetis watching now who'd like to correct me on this, do so now or hold your peace. Game starts and we're treated to cutscenes that look like someone sneezed on National Geographic footage. These artifacts all over the screen, that's not my editor acting up, that's not YouTube acting up, that's just how it looks. Isn't that special? The story of Urban Yeti is that we're a Yeti. Yetis have apparently been real this whole time, they've somehow avoided being discovered by humans despite living in alleyways and sewers, and we want a girlfriend, Yeti. Get ready to Yeti. Okay. The game peaks here. No matter what negative comments I make going forward, this one sentence is the best part of the game and should be the startup text to every video game this point forward. You enter the game and see the unholy attempts of 3D environments on Game Boy Advance. We run around for a bit and before I can even get my bearings, I'm greeted by Willem Dafoe telling us to go to mainland and find the female Yeti. I get it, this game must be some kind of top-down rampaging type of game, right? I can roar, punch, and it feels like GTA. I can get behind this, probably. Let's just cross the bridge to mainland and I need to pay a toll. I need to get a job and pay the toll for the bridge. But we're a Yeti! We've been smacking up police officers and roaring at oncoming traffic, but going across a bridge without paying is a bit too far for us now. I die and get sent back to the beginning, which means waiting to be told about the female Yeti again and dolloping over to the bridge just to be told to screw off again.
You're fond of me, lobster!
What doesn't help is that cars send you flying, policemen can stun lock you, and the pedestrians can still block your way even after being knocked down. I make my way up the ominous ramps to find a newspaper showing a job opening at a soup kitchen. I'm gonna need a really big hairnet. The interview isn't until tomorrow, so I sit on the roof as it's the only place that the cars can't get at me, and I found out that we can slowly heal by eating pieces of our own flesh. I get the job at the soup kitchen somehow, and we play a mini game to earn $4 needed for the toll bridge, because this is my life now. You know the classic arcade game Tapper? This is that, but worse, and for these 4 reasons. First, the food doesn't slide down the entire aisle. You have to get pretty close and chuck it at the patrons' faces, just like a real restaurant. Second, the food you have access to give to customers at any given time, completely random, meaning there will be moments where you just physically can't serve some of them because they're asking for a pink omelet and all I have is pizza and burgers, which means that they will punch you. Third, the customers punch you, and if multiple customers are upset, you can get locked in a corner being wailed on by angry Karens, causing more customers to become angry and decide to punch the big hairy man. And fourth, the money they give you can be picked up by other customers. When you do serve someone correctly, they drop a load of sand on the counter and walk away, but if another customer walks past that yellow dirt mound, it doesn't matter if they're angry or if they're still waiting for food, they will pick it up. Meaning you have to race to grab every piece of spare change right after feeding someone, then race all the way back to the kitchen and hope you have time to grab the right food for the next person. And sometimes it's impossible to pick up the change because 2 customers will be coming in one after the other. And the second the first one is fed, the one in the back takes the money. It's shit. It's so shit I managed to die and end up being caged, taking me down to my last life. I managed to beat the minigame, and when it spawns me back in the overworld, it knocks me down to the health I had in my previous life before starting the kitchen game. This is bullshit. Watch, for a split second, it gave me my full health back, and then decided to take it away from me again, meaning I have to try and dash back to the bridge without dying. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, almost there. No! How could I have dodged that? The screen is zoomed in! And now I've game over with police officers doing a kick line on top of me. Fantastic. Guess who gets to redo all that again? So this time I blitz through as much of the game as I know so far, speeding my way around, barely taking damage and ignoring as much as I can. I finally make it to the mainland and catch the scent of our female Yeti, because our Yeti doesn't see a problem in sniffing women. When I get to her, she ignores me, so I give her a small love tap, you know, a playful silly little punch on the shoulder that turns into a full-on fist fight. You may have defeated me for now, Urban Yeti, but meet me at the Yeti Discus tournament and I'll whoop you good. And before I can ask her if that means a second date, she jumps on a speeding car and gets away. Now this is where I have to admit something that either makes me look like an idiot or continues to prove that this game is just convoluted and hates me. Probably both. Up until this point in the game, I only knew that I could move with the D-pad, punch with A or B, and roar with L. I just assumed the R button didn't do anything, as that would be par for the course of this game. But no, if you're near a car and press R, you hitch a ride on top of it. On paper, that sounds like a good mechanic, but there's a couple problems with that idea. The cars, from what I can tell, drive aimlessly, meaning you're not so much hitching a ride to go somewhere, but instead getting a stuttery tour of all the nothing this game has to offer. And considering if you so much as look at a car wrong in this game, you go flying ass over head, why anyone in their right mind would try this during a normal game is beyond me. So I spend 3 whole minutes dumping around this wasteland of hate, trying to find the same car my gray mistress ran off on, and as soon as I do, you will never guess what happens next. The Yeti Mobile alert is sounded, asking for a dispatch of a saucer to come get me, and once it does get you, this is how you get into the Yeti Discus Tournament. I have no clue how anyone would have progressed in this game outside of randomly trying everything. The developers of Urban Yeti made it like this on purpose, just to spite me and only me. You can't prove otherwise. So after being taken to the tournament by the Yeti saucer, patent pending, we get to the one part of the game I actually enjoyed. The discus minigame feels somewhat fleshed out and fun. It's basically Asteroid, but the asteroids shoot back. You skate around the rink, throw your disc at opponents, and try to have them all be knocked down at once. You have 3 lives, the difficulty ramps up pretty fairly, and unlike everywhere else in the game, the computer players don't even gang up on you. My only complaint is that you need to go through 10 rounds of it, and the gameplay doesn't evolve much during those 10 rounds, so it gets a bit repetitive towards the end, but I'd gladly play this minigame over any other part of the game. After the tournament, a van throws a pigeon carrying a note at us. I missed the discus minigame already. The female Yeti apparently spectated the tournament, leading me to suspect that she might actually not be the Grey Yeti, and she has invited us to her chicken farm in the suburbs. I beat up some protesters who tell me I need to turn the subway back on to get to the suburbs. The lever is behind some electric tracks, so I throw a cat at it to turn it on. I honestly threw the cat as a joke. The game never prompted me to, or had me do anything like this again or before this. Why is this a mechanic? We hitch a ride under the subway and make it to the 3rd minigame, Lazy Sewero Fun. 2 of these words need to be removed for false advertising and should just be called Sewero. You awkwardly turn with left and right and use the A or B buttons to paddle forward, avoiding just about everything because the entire world hates Urban Yeti, and I don't blame it. Gators have a giant hitbox that if you so much as tickle, you lose an entire inner tube. Snakes move so fast that it's almost impossible to get out of the way before one can bite your tube, and the sharp bits and hooks in the water, fuck them. You can get caught and lose an entire inner tube on one hook because you don't get invincibility frames when hit by these things only. There are 4 power-ups and only 2 of them are actually helpful, those being the health power-ups. There's a small one that repairs a current tube and a big one that replenishes the tube. There's invincibility, but it only lasts like 3 seconds and it's almost always in front of a gator, meaning 9 times out of 10 you're just deleting the gator quickly with it and moving on. And finally there's a power-up that speeds you up, and trust me, this game could use some speeding up, but instead of making you move down faster, it just makes your little paddle move launch you forwards, usually into something dangerous. Pro tip with StupidWizard, don't grab this power-up. This minigame is so slow and long, it took me over half an hour of attempts to finally get it. I felt nothing but sweat and spite while playing, and by the end it sounded like my Yeti was flushed down a urinal. Finally in the suburbs, the home stretch. Why is there ominous blue sludge coming out of the house? No time to dilly-dally, it's time to find our mate and get ready to Yeti, which has now taken on a whole new meaning. I find the female Yeti's house, and oh no, we smell like sewage. Maybe we should have taken the subway instead of the sewer. I get hosed down by some homeless children, and then another interruption before we meet our mate. She's lost 8 chickens and needs us to find them. I spent over 1 hour trying to do this. You can only carry 1 at a time. You can't attack while holding them. You have to carry them all the way back to the house. This part of the game has the most police officers and dogs that will attack you on sight, and anytime you take damage, the chicken is launched in a random direction. This was the last straw for me. Yes, I gave up on this part of the game and used a password to skip this part. Bad controls, sewer ride, soup kitchen, the glitches, all of this I can and mostly did ignore while playing to get to the end. But this frustrating shit of a collectathon chicken nonsense, no, I will not put up with it. So you'll be happy to know I got my frustrations out by chucking the chickens into a hot dog machine. Yep, the level right after the chicken rescue has you toss 30 chickens into a machine that apparently makes Yeti hot dogs. And what makes this really funny is that when you use a password to load up a level, it skips any cutscenes between the levels, so I have no idea why she wanted us to save 8 chickens just for us to slaughter 3 times as many. Maybe she's a capitalist. And with that, we are crowned the champion Yeti and get our mate. She may look like she was dunked in tar and then dragged through a barbershop, but apparently we're happy now. Only one last thing to take care of, the group mega dance. Here's a list of people I'm putting in the hole. Overall, Urban Yeti is a convoluted, broken mess of a game, has the most confusing tone and overall feel, and I'd rather be an actual Yeti than play this game again. I didn't even write an outro. I stopped after the whole I'd rather be a Yeti thing. Go follow my Twitter. Subscribe. Maybe. I don't fucking know, man.